The wind howled through the jagged cliffs of coastal Maine, carrying the sharp scent of salt and secrets. Lily Harper stood frozen, her heart pounding as she stared at the crumpled note in her hand, its edges fraying in the damp air. If you love her, leave now or you'll both pay the price. She hadn't expected this. Not here, not now, on what was supposed to be a romantic escape with Ava, the woman who had turned her world upside down in the best and most terrifying ways. They'd planned this trip to celebrate their one-year anniversary, a chance to steal a week away from the noise of their lives in Boston. But as Lily's hazel eyes scanned the cryptic warning, the rugged beauty of the coastline felt less like a haven and more like a trap. Lily tucked the note into her jacket pocket, her fingers trembling. She glanced back at the small cabin they'd rented, its warm lights glowing against the gathering dusk. Ava was inside, probably humming softly as she unpacked their bags, oblivious to the storm brewing beyond the weather. Lily's mind raced. Who could have left this? And why? They'd told no one about this trip, not their friends, not their families, not even their co-workers. The isolation had been the point, a sanctuary for their love, which still felt fragile in a world that didn't always understand it. She pushed open the cabin door, the creak of the hinges slicing through the quiet. Ava looked up from the kitchen counter, her green eyes catching the light like sea glass. At 30, Ava Martinez carried a quiet strength, her short black hair framing a face that could shift from playful to fierce in a heartbeat. She was chopping vegetables for dinner, her leather jacket slung over a chair, and the sight of her so at ease, so hers made Lily's chest ache with love and fear. "Everything okay?" Ava asked, her voice soft but laced with concern. She'd always been able to read Lily, even when Lily tried to hide her worries behind a smile. Lily hesitated. She wanted to tell Ava about the note, to lay it bare and face whatever this was together. But something stopped her, the weight of the words, the threat they carried. Instead she forced a smile. "Just chilly out there. You need help with that." Ava raised an eyebrow, unconvinced, but let it slide. "Only if you promise not to dice the carrots into oblivion again." She smirked and Lily laughed, the sound easing the tension in her chest, if only for a moment. They cooked together, the small kitchen filling with the scent of garlic and rosemary. Over dinner they talked about everything and nothing: Lily's latest art project, Ava's dreams of opening her own bookstore, the way the stars looked brighter here than in the city. But the note burned a hole in Lily's pocket, its words looping in her mind. She watched Ava's hands as they moved, strong and sure, and wondered how she could protect her from something she didn't even understand yet. Later, as they sat by the fire, Ava's head resting on Lily's shoulder, the world felt almost right again. Almost. The crackle of the logs was the only sound until a sharp knock at the door shattered the peace. Lily's heart lurched. Ava sat up, her eyes narrowing. "Who the hell is that? It's nearly midnight." Lily's mouth went dry. "Maybe it's the owner checking in," she said, but her voice wavered. She stood, her legs unsteady, and moved toward the door. Ava grabbed her arm, her grip firm. "Lily, what's going on? You've been off all night." The knock came again, louder this time, insistent. Lily swallowed hard, her hand hovering over the doorknob. She didn't know what waited on the other side, but she knew one thing. She'd do anything to keep Ava safe, even if it meant facing the unknown alone. She opened the door. A gust of cold air rushed in, but no one was there. The porch was empty, the darkness beyond it swallowing the light from the cabin. Lily's breath caught as she spotted something on the ground, a single photograph, its edges curling in the damp. She bent down, her fingers brushing the glossy surface, and her stomach dropped. It was a picture of her and Ava, taken just yesterday as they'd walked hand in hand along the cliffs. Someone had been watching them. Ava appeared behind her, her voice sharp. "Lily, what is that?" Lily turned, the photograph trembling in her hand. "We're not alone here," she whispered. The next morning, the weight of the photograph and the note pressed heavier on Lily's mind. She hadn't slept, her thoughts spiraling through every possibility. Was this a prank? A local with a grudge? Or something darker, tied to the secrets they'd both left behind in Boston? Ava, ever the pragmatist, insisted they go to the local police, but the nearest station was 30 miles away, and the winding coastal roads felt more treacherous now. "Let's just stick to the plan," Ava said over breakfast, her voice steady but her eyes searching Lily's face. We hike the trails, we explore the town. We don't let this ruin our trip. She reached across the table, her fingers brushing Lily's. We've dealt with worse, haven't we? Lily nodded, but her heart wasn't in it. They'd faced their share of challenges, disapproving families, whispered judgments, the constant pressure of living authentically, in a world that sometimes turned love into a battle. But this felt different. This felt personal. They set out for a hike along the cliffs, the ocean roaring below. The trail was rugged, lined with gnarled pines and slick rocks, but the beauty of it was undeniable. Lily tried to focus on the moment, on Ava's laughter as she pointed out a seal bobbing in the waves, on the way their hands fit together perfectly. But her eyes kept darting to the shadows, half expecting someone to step out from behind a tree. Halfway through the hike, they stumbled across an old lighthouse, its paint peeling but its structure still proud against the sky. A sign warned it was closed to visitors, but Ava's curiosity got the better of her. "Come on," she said, tugging Lily toward the rusted gate. "What's a little adventure without breaking a few rules?" Lily hesitated, the note's warning echoing in her mind, but Ava's smile was impossible to resist. They slipped through the gate, the air inside the lighthouse cool and musty. The spiral staircase creaked under their weight as they climbed, their footsteps echoing in the hollow space. At the top, the view was staggering, endless ocean stretching to the horizon, the cliffs jagged and wild below. For a moment they were just two women in love, stealing a perfect moment from the world. Ava pulled Lily close, her lips brushing Lily's forehead. "This is why we came here," she murmured. "For this." Lily wanted to believe it could be that simple. But as they descended the staircase, a low groan echoed through the lighthouse, not the wind but something mechanical, deliberate. Ava froze, her hand tightening around Lily's. "Did you hear that?" Before Lily could answer, the door at the base of the staircase slammed shut, plunging them into darkness. The darkness swallowed them, thick and suffocating, as the echo of the slamming door lingered in the lighthouse. Lily's pulse thundered in her ears, her hand clutching Ava's so tightly her knuckles ached. "Stay calm," Ava whispered, her voice steady despite the tension radiating from her body. Lily fumbled for her phone, her fingers shaking as she activated the flashlight. The beam cut through the gloom, revealing the rusted spiral staircase and the heavy iron door below, now firmly closed. "That wasn't the wind," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. She thought of the note, the photograph, the unseen eyes that had been tracking them. This wasn't random. Ava tugged her toward the door, her movements quick and decisive. "We're getting out of here." She rattled the handle, but it didn't budge. The lock was old, rusted, but solid. Ava cursed under her breath, her calm facade cracking. Who locks a lighthouse in the middle of the day? Lily's mind raced. The note had warned her to leave, but they hadn't. Now they were trapped, and the weight of her decision not to tell Ava about the note pressed down on her. She opened her mouth to confess, but a faint scratching sound stopped her cold. It came from above, from the lantern room they'd just left. Ava's eyes flicked upward, her jaw tightening. "Someone's here," she said, her voice low and fierce. She grabbed a loose piece of metal from the staircase, holding it like a weapon. Lily's heart swelled with admiration and fear. Ava was always the fighter, the one who faced the world head-on, while Lily hesitated, overthinking every step. They crept back up the stairs, the scratching growing louder, more rhythmic. The lantern room was empty, but the glass walls offered no cover, leaving them exposed to the vast ocean and sky. The scratching stopped abruptly, replaced by a low hum that vibrated through the floor. Lily's flashlight beam swept across the room, landing on a small hatch in the corner, partially hidden by dust and cobwebs. "What the hell is that?" Ava muttered, kneeling beside it. She pried it open, revealing a narrow ladder descending into darkness. The hum grew louder, mechanical and unsettling, like the pulse of some hidden machine. "We should wait for help," Lily said, her voice trembling. "We don't know what's down there." Ava's green eyes locked onto hers, fierce and unyielding. "Whoever locked us in isn't coming to help. We need to know what we're dealing with." Before Lily could protest, Ava was already climbing down, her boots echoing against the metal rungs. Lily followed, her fear warring with her trust in Ava. The ladder led to a small, damp chamber beneath the lighthouse, its walls lined with old crates and rusted equipment. The hum was deafening now, coming from a dusty generator in the corner, its wires snaking into the shadows. Ava's flashlight caught something else: a stack of photographs, identical to the one left on their porch, showing them walking, laughing, living their lives unaware. Lily's stomach churned. "They've been watching us for days," she whispered, her voice breaking. She couldn't keep it in any longer. "Ava, there's something I need to tell you." She pulled the note from her pocket, her hands shaking as she handed it over. Ava's face darkened as she read it, her jaw clenching. "Why didn't you tell me?" Her voice was sharp, hurt, and Lily felt the sting of it like a physical blow. "I didn't want to scare you," Lily said, her eyes filling with tears. "I thought I could handle it. Figure out what it meant." "Handle it?" Ava snapped, but her anger softened as she saw the fear in Lily's eyes. She stepped closer, her hand cupping Lily's cheek. "We're in this together, okay? No more secrets." Lily nodded, tears spilling over. "I'm sorry." Before Ava could respond, a loud clang echoed from above, followed by footsteps, heavy, deliberate, descending the ladder. Ava shoved the photographs into her jacket and pulled Lily behind a crate, her finger to her lips. The footsteps stopped, and a shadow loomed at the base of the ladder. Lily held her breath, her heart pounding so loudly she was sure it would give them away. The figure moved closer, a flashlight beam sweeping the chamber. It was a man, tall and broad, his face obscured by a hood. He muttered something under his breath, too low to make out, and began rummaging through the crates, tossing papers and tools aside. Lily's eyes caught a glint of metal in his hand, a knife. Ava's grip on her tightened, her body coiled like a spring. Lily knew that look. Ava was about to act, to confront the man head-on. But before she could, the generator sputtered and died, plunging them into darkness. The man cursed, his flashlight flickering, and Ava seized the moment, pulling Lily toward the ladder. They climbed silently, their breaths shallow, and slipped back into the lantern room. The door below was still locked, but Ava spotted a small window, barely wide enough for them to squeeze through. "We're not staying here," she whispered, already prying it open. They tumbled onto the rocky ground outside, the ocean roaring below. The lighthouse loomed behind them, its silhouette menacing against the stormy sky. Lily's legs shook, but Ava's hand in hers kept her moving. They ran back to the trail, the wind whipping their hair, the weight of what they'd seen pressing down on them. Back at the cabin, Ava locked the door and shoved a chair under the handle. "We need to leave," she said, her voice firm but shaking. "Tonight." Lily nodded, but her mind was elsewhere, replaying the photographs, the note, the man with the knife. This wasn't just a random threat. Someone knew them, knew their story, and wanted to tear it apart. But why? As they packed, Lily's phone buzzed. A new message from an unknown number. Her hands trembled as she opened it. A photo of the lighthouse taken from the outside just moments ago, with a single line of text. "You can't run forever." The cabin felt smaller now, its walls closing in as the photo on Lily's phone burned into her mind. Ava snatched the phone, her face paling as she read the message. "This isn't a game," she said, her voice low, almost a growl. "We're leaving. Now." They threw their bags into the rental car, the night air thick with the threat of rain. Lily's hand shook as she fumbled with the keys, the image of the hooded man with the knife flashing in her mind. Ava took the wheel, her jaw set, her eyes scanning the darkness beyond the headlights. The coastal road was narrow, winding through cliffs and dense forest, each curve feeling like a step deeper into a trap. "We should have gone to the police yesterday," Lily said, her voice barely audible over the hum of the engine. Guilt gnawed at her. She'd kept the note a secret, thinking she could protect Ava, but now they were running blind. Ava's hands tightened on the wheel. "We'll go now. The station in Rockport's our best shot." But her voice wavered, and Lily knew she was scared too, even if she wouldn't admit it. Ava had always been the strong one, the one who faced down bigots and family drama with a fire in her eyes. But this was different. This was a predator, unseen and relentless. The car's headlights caught a flicker of movement on the road, a figure, standing in the middle of the lane. Ava slammed on the brakes, the tires screeching as the car skidded to a stop. Lily's heart leapt into her throat. It was him, the hooded man from the lighthouse, his silhouette unmistakable, the knife glinting in his hand. "Stay in the car," Ava ordered, but Lily grabbed her arm, panic surging. Don't you dare go out there. Before they could argue, the man stepped forward, his face still hidden. He raised a hand, not in threat but almost in greeting, then turned and vanished into the trees. Ava cursed, throwing the car into reverse, but a loud thud jolted them forward. The rear tire had blown, the car lurching to one side. Lily's breath hitched. He did this. He planned this. Ava's eyes darted to the rearview mirror, then to Lily. We can't stay here. She grabbed their bags, shoving Lily's phone into her pocket. We walk. The town's not far. They stumbled out into the rain, now falling in heavy sheets, the wind howling through the pines. Lily clung to Ava's hand, her fear tempered by the warmth of Ava's grip. They moved quickly, the road slick and treacherous, every rustle in the trees sending Lily's heart racing. She kept glancing back, expecting to see the man's shadow behind them, but the night revealed nothing. After what felt like hours, the faint glow of Rockport's lights appeared through the fog. The town was small, a cluster of quaint shops and fishing boats, but it felt like salvation. They found a diner, its neon sign flickering, and slipped inside, dripping wet and shivering. The waitress, an older woman with kind eyes, brought them coffee without asking, sensing their distress. We need to call the police, Ava said, her voice steady but urgent. The waitress nodded, pointing to a payphone in the corner. As Ava made the call, Lily stared out the window, the rain blurring the world outside. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were still being watched. The police arrived quickly, a single officer named Daniels, his face weathered but calm. He listened as Ava recounted the note, the photographs, the lighthouse, the man on the road. Lily added details, her voice shaking as she described the message on her phone. Daniels took notes, his expression unreadable, but promised to investigate the lighthouse and patrol the area. You two should stay in town tonight, he said. There's a motel down the street. I'll check in with you tomorrow. The motel was basic but warm, a stark contrast to the chaos of the night. As they settled into the small room, Ava pulled Lily into her arms, her touch grounding. We're going to be okay, Ava whispered, but Lily heard the uncertainty in her voice. They lay together in the narrow bed, the rain drumming on the roof. Lily traced the lines of Ava's face, memorizing every detail, the curve of her jaw, the faint scar above her eyebrow from a childhood fall. I'm scared, Lily admitted, her voice barely audible. Ava kissed her forehead, her lips soft and warm. I know, but we've got each other. That's enough. Sleep came fitfully, broken by nightmares of shadowy figures and endless cliffs. When morning broke, gray and heavy, Lily woke to find Ava already up, staring at a map of the area. The lighthouse isn't far from here, Ava said, her voice determined. If the police won't find answers, we will. Lily's stomach twisted. Ava, no. It's too dangerous. But Ava's eyes burned with resolve. Whoever's doing this knows us, Lily. They know our story. We need to know why. Against her better judgment, Lily agreed. They returned to the lighthouse under the cover of daylight, the ocean calmer now but no less ominous. The gate was still open, the door to the lighthouse ajar. Inside, the air was heavy with the scent of salt and decay. They found the hatch to the chamber below, the photographs still scattered on the floor. Ava knelt, examining them closely. These aren't just from this trip, she said, her voice tight. Look. She held up a photo of them at a Boston cafe months ago, their heads bent close over a shared coffee. Another showed Lily at her art studio, unaware of the camera. Lily's blood ran cold. This started before we came here. Ava's face hardened. Someone's been stalking us. For months. As they sifted through the photographs, a piece of paper slipped out, folded and worn. Lily unfolded it, her heart stopping as she read the words. You took everything from me. Now I'll take her. The words on the paper seared into Lily's mind, each syllable a dagger. You took everything from me. Now I'll take her. Her hand shook as she handed it to Ava, whose face drained of color, her green eyes blazing with a mix of fear and fury. Who the hell is this? Ava demanded, her voice echoing in the damp chamber. She crumpled the paper, her knuckles white. What do they mean? You took everything. Lily, do you know something about this? Lily's throat tightened. She wanted to say no, to swear she had no idea who could hate them this much, but a memory flickered, a name, a face, A moment from her past she'd buried deep. I don't know, she stammered, but Ava's piercing gaze told her she wasn't convincing anyone. We can't keep secrets now, Ava said, her voice softening but firm. If you know something, anything, you need to tell me. Lily swallowed hard, her mind racing back to a time before Ava, before love had felt safe. There was someone, Claire, a woman she'd dated briefly in college, whose intensity had bordered on obsession. It had ended badly, with Claire's tearful accusations and threats that lingered long after Lily moved on. Could it be her? But Claire had vanished from her life years ago, and Lily had never told Ava about her, ashamed of the chaos that relationship had brought. I might know who, Lily whispered, her voice breaking, but I'm not sure. It was a long time ago. Ava's expression softened, but before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from above, followed by the sound of glass shattering. They froze, their eyes locking. He's back, Ava said, grabbing the metal pipe she'd carried from the lighthouse. They crept up the ladder, their movements silent but urgent. The lantern room was a mess. Broken glass littered the floor, the windows smashed, and a cold wind whipped through the space. In the center of the room, a new photograph lay pinned under a rock, showing Lily and Ava at the diner the night before, their faces tired but close. Lily's stomach lurched. They're still watching us. Ava's jaw clenched. We need to end this. She pulled out her phone, dialing Officer Daniels, but the call wouldn't connect, the signal was gone. Lily tried hers with the same result. The isolation of the lighthouse felt suffocating now. The ocean's roar a mocking reminder of how alone they were. We can't stay here, Ava said, her voice steady despite the chaos. We head back to town, find Daniels, and figure out who's doing this. They slipped out of the lighthouse, the wind biting at their skin as they hurried along the cliffside trail. The forest loomed dark and dense, every shadow a potential threat. Lily's mind churned with guilt. If Claire was behind this, it was her fault, her past dragging Ava into danger. She wanted to confess everything, to lay it all bare, but fear kept her silent. What if Ava blamed her? What if this broke them? Halfway to town, they heard Ida low hum, like the generator in the lighthouse, but closer, moving through the trees. Ava stopped, her hand tightening around the pipe. Get behind me, she whispered. Lily obeyed, her heart pounding as the hum grew louder, accompanied by the crunch of leaves. A figure emerged from the trees, not the hooded man, but a woman, her face half hidden by a scarf. She was tall, her movements deliberate, and in her hand she held a camera, its lens glinting in the dim light. Claire. Lily's voice trembled, the name slipping out before she could stop it. The woman paused, her head tilting slightly. You remember me, she said, her voice low, laced with bitterness. She pulled down the scarf, revealing a face Lily hadn't seen in years, older now, but unmistakable, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that burned with resentment. Ava stepped forward, the pipe raised. Who are you and what do you want? Claire's gaze flicked to Ava, a twisted smile curling her lips. You must be the one she chose. Her voice dripped with venom. She didn't tell you about me, did she? How she broke me, left me with nothing. Lily's heart sank. Claire, I'm sorry. I never meant. Save it, Claire snapped, her hand tightening around the camera. You moved on, built your perfect life, while I was left picking up the pieces. Now you'll know what it feels like to lose everything. Ava's eyes narrowed. You're the one leaving the notes, the photos. You locked us in the lighthouse. Claire's smile widened, cold and calculating. And you're smarter than you look. But this isn't about you, Ava. It's about her. She pointed at Lily, her voice trembling with rage. She owes me. Before Ava could respond, Claire lunged, the camera dropping as she pulled a knife from her coat. Ava swung the pipe, knocking the blade from Claire's hand, but Claire was fast, tackling Ava to the ground. Lily screamed, her body moving before her mind could catch up. She grabbed Claire's arm, pulling her off Ava with a strength she didn't know she had. Stop it! Lily shouted, her voice raw. This isn't who you are, Claire. Claire laughed, a hollow broken sound. You don't know me anymore, Lily. You made sure of that. Ava scrambled to her feet, her eyes blazing. Enough. You want to hurt someone? Hurt me. But you leave her alone. For a moment the three of them stood frozen, the wind howling around them, the ocean crashing below. Claire's eyes darted between them, her rage faltering, replaced by something raw: pain, loss, a wound that had never healed. Then without a word, she turned and ran, disappearing into the forest. Lily's legs gave out, and she sank to the ground, tears streaming down her face. Ava knelt beside her, pulling her close. "It's okay," Ava whispered, her voice steady despite the bruise forming on her cheek. "We're okay." But Lily knew they weren't. Not yet. Claire was still out there, and the weight of her past was heavier than ever. The forest swallowed Claire's footsteps, leaving only the sound of the wind and Lily's quiet sobs. Ava held her tightly, her arms a lifeline in the chaos, but her eyes scanned the trees, wary of another ambush. "We need to move," she said, helping Lily to her feet. "She's not done." Lily nodded, her body trembling but her resolve hardening. She'd spent years running from her past, burying the pain of her mistakes, but now it was here, threatening the woman she loved. She wouldn't let Claire destroy what they'd built. Not without a fight. They reached Rockport by dusk, the town's lights a faint comfort against the gathering storm. Officer Daniels met them at the diner, his face grim as they recounted Claire's attack. "I know her," he said, his voice heavy. "Claire Ramsey. She grew up here, left years ago after some trouble. Came back a few months ago, been keeping to herself. I didn't think she'd go this far." Lily's stomach twisted. "What kind of trouble?" Daniels hesitated. "She was involved with a girl who broke things off. Claire didn't take it well, got obsessive, made threats. The family moved away to avoid her. Sounds like she never got over it." Lily's heart sank. She'd been that girl, and the guilt of leaving Claire behind, broken and angry, felt like a stone in her chest. "This is my fault," she whispered. Ava's hand found hers, squeezing tightly. "No, it's not. You didn't make her do this. She chose to come after us." Daniels promised to search for Claire, but his small team and the vast coastline made it a daunting task. He urged them to stay in the motel, under police watch, until Claire was found. But as they settled into the room, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that Claire was closer than they thought. That night, unable to sleep, Lily sat by the window watching the rain streak down the glass. Ava joined her, wrapping a blanket around them both. "Talk to me," Ava said softly. "What happened with Claire?" Lily took a shaky breath, the words spilling out like a dam breaking. She told Ava everything: the whirlwind romance in college, Claire's intensity, the way it had scared her, the breakup that had left Claire shattered. "I thought she'd moved on," Lily said, her voice breaking. "I didn't know she was still hurting." Ava listened, her expression unreadable but her hand steady in Lily's. When Lily finished, Ava pulled her close. "You were young. You made a choice. That doesn't give her the right to hurt you or us." Lily nodded, but the guilt lingered. She leaned into Ava, drawing strength from her warmth. "I love you," she whispered. "I can't lose you." "You won't," Ava said, her voice fierce. "We're stronger than this." The next morning, Daniels called with news. Claire had been spotted near the lighthouse, but she'd slipped away before they could apprehend her. He warned them to stay put, but Ava was restless, her mind working through every detail. "She's not going to stop," Ava said. "We need to draw her out on our terms." Lily's heart raced. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying we go back to the lighthouse. We let her think she's in control, but we'll be ready." It was a reckless plan, but Lily saw the fire in Ava's eyes, the same fire that had drawn her to Ava in the first place. They couldn't keep running, not from Claire, not from their past. They armed themselves with flashlights and a tire iron from the car, and under the cover of night, they returned to the lighthouse. The structure loomed against the stormy sky, its broken windows like empty eyes. Inside, the air was thick with tension, every creak and groan amplified. They climbed to the lantern room, the place where it had all begun, and waited. It didn't take long. Claire appeared at the base of the staircase, her face pale but determined. She held no knife this time, only a photograph, the one of Lily and Ava at the cliffs, their hands clasped, their love undeniable. "You don't deserve her," Claire said, her voice trembling. "You never did." Lily stepped forward, her fear giving way to something stronger. "I'm sorry I hurt you, Claire. I was scared and I didn't handle it right. But this isn't love. It's pain, and you're letting it destroy you." Claire's eyes glistened, her resolve faltering. You left me with nothing. Ava moved closer, her voice calm but firm. You're not nothing, Claire. You're more than this moment, this anger. Let it go. For a moment, silence hung heavy between them. Then Claire's shoulders sagged, the photograph slipping from her hand. She sank to the floor, tears streaming down her face. I just wanted you to feel what I felt, she whispered. Lily knelt beside her, her heart aching for the woman Claire had been, and the pain she'd carried alone. I'm sorry, Lily said again, and this time she meant it not just for the past, but for the future Claire could still have. Daniels arrived shortly after, alerted by a tracker Ava had secretly activated on her phone. Claire didn't resist as he led her away, her eyes distant but no longer burning with rage. As the police car disappeared into the night, Lily and Ava stood together, the lighthouse silent around them. Back at the cabin they packed their bags, the weight of the past few days lifting with each step. The trip had been meant to celebrate their love, but it had tested it instead, forging something stronger, unbreakable. As they drove away from the coast, the ocean stretching endless beside them, Lily reached for Ava's hand. We survived, Lily said, a small smile breaking through. Ava grinned, her eyes bright with love. We did more than survive. We fought for us. And in that moment, with the road ahead and Ava's hand in hers, Lily knew they could face anything as long as they faced it together. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.